Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, federal government begins evacuation of Nigerians trapped in Sudan. Protesters block Jos-Abuja highway over killing of 6 miners in Plateau State. Nigerians react to gradual disappearance of new Naira notes. And on the international scene, fear mounts for Sudan ceasefire as former regime members escape from jail. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Now the news in detail. Following days of hostilities in Sudan, the federal government says it has commenced the evacuation of Nigerians from the troubled nation to neighboring Egypt by road. The two ministers of foreign affairs revealed this while providing an update on the efforts to ensure the safety of Nigerian students and citizens' safety in the Sudan. Kende Amodu reports.
A lot of concern has been raised about the safety of Nigerians caught between the fighting in Sudan. Many are of the view that the Nigerian government was too slow in responding to the issue, but its officials argue that the number of its citizens in the country were too large to evacuate without diplomatic guarantees. Having obtained these guarantees, over 40 luxury buses are on their way to the Egyptian border town of Aswan, where they will be received by the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and staff of the Nigerian commissions in Egypt and Ethiopia.
We will transport or convey the Nigerians to the Egyptian border, Aswan. So that's what we decided on. We're liaising with our embassy in Egypt as well. So we've been able to overcome a number of challenges and have started the process, which we're very happy about. We've secured a significant number of luxurious buses because the distances are quite considerable.
As the exercise commences, women, children, and the vulnerable are to be given priority during the evacuation exercise.
Ordinarily, it would be appropriate that women should be given priority. Women and children should be given priority. I think that goes without saying.
The good news is that no Nigerian life has been lost so far. I think it's important to stress that all Nigerians are very safe and that we have not lost any life so far. And we are very confident and very hopeful that we shall not lose any Nigerian life, inshallah, in this exercise.
But the Nigerian government is leveraging on the 72-hour ceasefire window given by the Sudanese government to evacuate as many Nigerians as possible. From State House, Abuja, Kende Amodu, Trust TV News.
President-elect Bola Tinubu on Wednesday arrived at the Defense House, Maitama, Abuja. The Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Festus Keyamo, disclosed this via his verified Twitter handle on Wednesday. The Defense House is the official residence of the President-elect from where they move into the presidential villa after the inauguration. Moving on, the leading contender for the speakership post in the 10th House of Representatives, Mukhtar Betara, has visited President-elect Bola Tinubu with a view to extracting his support and endorsement. The member representing Bu, Bayo, Shani, and Gwaya Kusar Federal Constituency of Borno State has been canvassing support for his speakership aspirations with party members-elect, former lawmakers, with stakeholders throwing their weight behind the lawmaker who they described as a man of the people. His campaign and consultation with the president-elect are one out of many consultations he has embarked upon in the last 3 months ahead of the June inauguration. In a video made available by his campaign media office on Wednesday morning, the president-elect personally held Betara's hand as he led him into the inner room for discussions. Betara, who currently chairs the House of Representatives Appropriation Committee, had earlier exchanged warm pleasantries with the incoming Commander-in-Chief shortly after having some photo sessions. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the recent general election, Peter Obi, has faulted the objection of the Independent National Electoral Commission to its petition against the election of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Obi, in his reply to the response of INEC to his petition at the Court of Appeal Abuja, observed that the action of the electoral umpire was not only unwarranted but an embarrassment to the country. According to the petition, INEC, in line with global best practice for electoral umpires in national elections, ought to avoid creating the impression that it has no respect for neutrality in an electoral contest between candidates. Obi and his party, who were joint petitioners, recalled several judgments which had repeatedly admonished INEC of its need to remain neutral in election proceedings. However, the petitioners, in their reply to the preliminary objection dated April 25, deny the contention that the facts supporting the grounds on which the petition is based are vague and imprecise. The 2023 Ebonyi State Elections Petitions Tribunal, holding in Abakaliki, the state capital, has been moved to Abuja, the nation's capital. The secretary of the tribunal, Nyo Sekula, made this known on Wednesday in a statement to journalists in Abakaliki. The information indicates that the president of the Court of Appeal, Monica Dongban Mensem, has directed that the tribunal be relocated to Abuja immediately. Following this development, Sekula said the office of the tribunal, located within the headquarters of the state judiciary, remained closed from Wednesday, April 26, 2023. This, he noted, means all petitions will now be attended to at the tribunal office in Abuja. But still on court matters, Justice Iang Eko of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has dismissed the suit filed by the Adamawa governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Aisha Binani, seeking to be affirmed as the winner of the election. Justice Eko dismissed the suit following a notice of discontinuance that was filed by the plaintiff. Though she had applied through her counsel, Muhammad Sharif, to strike out the suit, Justice Eko declined, stressing that the appropriate order was dismissal since the court earlier directed the plaintiff to address it on the issue of jurisdiction. Binani had approached the court with an ex parte application to stop the INEC from announcing any other person as the winner of the Adamawa State governorship election. In her suit, the APC candidate insisted that she was declared winner of the governorship election after the collation process was completed. She argued that INEC had no powers to cancel or declare a declaration which has been made as null and void. Protesters have taken to the streets in Yola to demand the release of 3 members of the People's Democratic Party who have been allegedly detained illegally by the Department of Security Services for the past 7 days without trial. Yusuf Muhammad Zirajon and Solomon Abafras are the affected persons. The protesters, led by the state chairman of the PDP, Tahir Shehu, marched from the state headquarters of the PDP through Justice Buba Ardo Road to the DSS office in Yola, where they presented their complaint letter. According to Shehu, the detention of their members beyond the stipulated 48 hours is a violation of their fundamental human rights. The protest was necessitated by the DSS's failure to release the members who were arrested following the recent governorship election controversies in the state. The former Adamawa resident electoral commissioner, Hudu Yunusa Ari, illegally declared the winner, and the affected PDP members were apprehended as a result. The state chairman expressed his optimism that the DSS would carry out an investigation on the matter and do the needful as quickly as possible. Residents of Feren Lamba community of Riom local government area of Plateau State on Wednesday blocked the Jos-Abuja highway in protest against the killing of 6 members of the community. The blockade left many travelers stranded, with many motorists seen parking their vehicles along the road, while others made a U-turn to avoid being stuck in traffic. Ado Musa completes the report.
According to the spokesperson of the State Police Command, Alabo Alfred, who confirmed the incident, said the victims were ambushed late evening of Tuesday when they were returning from mining site. Alabo said the State Commissioner of Police, Bartholomew Onyeka, had since visited the affected community to sympathize with the relatives of the deceased. While commiserating with the members of the community, the commissioner assured that the command will do everything within its power to arrest the perpetrators of the attack.
I will tell you people what I've been doing for you people here. I send security patrols, everything to this place to make sure that there is peace here. And you know, sometimes when something happens like this, you don't have to challenge God because you don't know how and why. We provided police. Police was within the vicinity everywhere. Look at this man. Where is this video? Look at him. He has been with you people since yesterday. He has not gone home. With the area commander, when we had it for a long we set him down. But who knows that there were people in the bush when they were doing this their mining? Nobody knew. If we were aware, our men could have gone right inside that place to go and know what is happening.
The commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in the state, Alexandra Burundi, who accompanied the police commissioner, also asked the protesters not to take laws into their hands. We are really sorry about what has happened. I believe we didn't create ourselves. It is God that created us. Whoever takes the life of someone would definitely pay for it. Both Christianity and Islam don't permit killing. We are really sorry about what has happened. Security personnel, including police and troops of Operation Safe Haven, a multi-security task force maintaining peace in the state, have been deployed to the community to restore law and order. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
On security, troops of Operation Hatterindaji have killed no fewer than 5 armed bandits during separate encounters in Zamfara State. The troops, while on regular routine patrol at Damuri district of Bakura local government area of Zamfara State, had credible intelligence on bandits' movement with large numbers of rustled cattle. The troops swiftly mobilized to their routes, and a heavy gun battle occurred with armed bandits near Galadimai village in the Damuri district under the Bakura local government area of the state. After the encounter, 3 armed bandits were neutralized, while others fled with several gunshot wounds, abandoning the rustled animals. The items recovered during the encounter include 1 AK-47 rifle, 7.62mm special ammunition, and 5 motorcycles. 2 soldiers and 15 villagers have been reportedly killed in an attack by armed invaders on 3 communities of Akpa local government area of Benue State. Locals say the attacks happened simultaneously at about 6 p.m. on Tuesday in Okbaha, Odogbo, and Ediku communities in Akpa local government area. A local, simply identified as Kole, said 17 bodies, including 2 soldiers of Operation World Stroke, were recovered from the nearby bushes in the early hours of Wednesday after security operatives combed the area. The local also said one of the deceased soldiers was the commander of the unit, which confronted the armed invaders in their bid to repel the attackers from the communities while under siege. Chairman of Akpa Development Association, Eche Akpoko, confirmed that there was an attack in the area on Tuesday night. The State Police Command is yet to confirm the incident. Still talking security, no fewer than 3 persons have been reportedly murdered, while over 10 others are said to have sustained various degrees of injuries following a bloody clash over a fishing pond by 2 rival groups in Alingani community in Lafia East development area of Nasarawa State. Investigation by Trust TV indicates that the clash was due to a disagreement between 2 rival groups loyal to ward heads appointed for Alingani by the overseer of the development area, Muhammad Haruna, and another appointed by the Oron Ake Abdullahi Uga. A close source in the community who craved anonymity said the government-appointed ward head, Lalhatu Muhammad Omiya, officially wrote to the overseer intimating him about the impending crisis about the fishing pond. The overseer of Lafia East Development Area, Muhammad Haruna, who confirmed the unfortunate incident, said security personnel have been drafted to the area to ensure that the situation is brought under control. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Rangham Nansel, who confirmed the incident, explained that it was purely a leadership tussle, assuring that the law will take its full course. The governorship aspirant of the All Progressives Grand Alliance in the just concluded 2023 general election in Enugu State, Dons Ude, has been reportedly found dead. Ude, who is said to have gone missing on Saturday, was reportedly found dead on Wednesday at the 9th Mile area of the state, barely 4 days after. Ude, an engineer, was a former Enugu State Secretary of the People's Democratic Party and had remained a member of the party till he defected to APGA to pursue his political ambition to become the governor of Enugu State. Although details of his abduction and recovery of his remains are still sketchy, the State Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Daniel Ndukwe, confirmed the incident. The Kogi State government has vowed to apprehend the kidnappers of the traditional ruler of Agara Bunu in Kaba, Bunu local government area, David Obadofin, with immediate effect. This was contained in a statement to newsmen in Lokoja on Wednesday by the State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Kingsley Fangwa. The state government in the statement described the kidnapping of the monarch as unacceptable, horrendous, criminal, and reprehensible, assuring that significant progress has been made in apprehending suspects behind the incident. The government, while commiserating with families of the deceased, called on locals to cooperate with security agencies in order to unravel the mystery behind the attack. Meanwhile, the late Obadofin's funeral service has been fixed for Friday, April 28 in Kaba. The late monarch, who died in the hands of his abductors last Thursday, has since been buried according to Owe traditional culture. Moving on, Justice Nicholas Owebo of the Lagos Federal High Court on Wednesday struck out an interim order for forfeiture obtained by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, seeking to seize 14 properties allegedly linked to Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State. The court struck out the suit on the grounds that Section 308 of the 1999 Constitution prevents the EFCC of any criminal or civil case against a sitting governor or the president. The court had on February 22 granted the temporary forfeiture order following an ex parte motion filed by the anti-graft agency seeking to seize 14 properties located in Lagos, Abuja, and the United Arab Emirates. However, Governor Bello had filed notice of intention to oppose and an application seeking the vacation of the interim forfeiture order. The governor premised his application on the grounds that the property listed were not proceeds of unlawful act, as they were acquired long before he was elected as Kogi State Governor and could not have been acquired from Kogi State funds. He further stated that by Section 308 of the Constitution, the EFCC is prevented from instituting any civil or criminal suit against him. He also protested the illegality in the filing of the suit by the EFCC on the grounds that the case was in flagrant disobedience to a state high court order which restrained the EFCC from investigating any account of the Kogi state government pending the determination of the motion on notice. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has asked the Federal High Court in Lagos to dismiss an application filed by the former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State, Sukpo Shashore SAN, challenging the jurisdiction of the court to try him on allegations of money laundering. The EFCC also said the defendant merely wishes to delay the proceedings as it will not be in the interest of justice to grant his application challenging the court's jurisdiction. These submissions were contained in the Commission's response to the application of the defendant filed and served on February 17th. The defendant's counsel, Chijoke Okoli SAN, however, told the courts that the EFCC's counter-affidavit was not ripe for hearing as the defendant had only been served last week Thursday and will need more time to file his response. Justice Chukwujeku Aneke agreed with the defense counsel and subsequently adjourned the June 26 for the hearing of all pending applications. Shashore was arraigned by the EFCC on October 29, 2022 on a 4-count charge bordering on money laundering to the tune of $100,000. The redesigned major denominations of Nigerians' currency seems to be scarce following the reintroduction of the old notes into circulation. Chairman Dabeng speaks to Nigerians to find out how often they get to see the old 1,000, 500 and 200 naira notes. The report.
The old 1,500 and 200 naira notes were reinstated following an order by the Supreme Court, which extended the deadline to December 31st. Now, the order came as a result of a debilitating naira scarcity, which hit the nation hard and made life difficult for many Nigerians.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, in a bid to reduce excess money in circulation, redesigned Nigeria's major denominations. However, since the reinstatement of the old notes, the new notes seem to be disappearing with each passing day.
I don't even see it again. We go to the bank, we go to the ATM, and now I'm going to the ATM. Yesterday I went to the ATM. There's no new note. It's only old one we're seeing.
I was thinking you want to give me some of the new ones. I've not seen.
When the naira came out newly, it was a little bit scarce. You can only get 1,500.
The new one not there anywhere now. People are saying that 1 out of 50 pieces of ordinary 200 naira because the money no plenty now. 1 out of 300 pieces now, Baba Buhari go print come. They share them, the thing no come reach. So now you make them.
The scarcity of the redesigned 1,500 and 200 naira notes has left many worried that there may be a repeat naira crunch ahead of the December 31st deadline.
So I don't think it's true. It's not going to. It's not the deadline of the December is not going to happen.
The cashiers, they say it's only the old ones they are bringing to them from CBN, and I don't have an account with CBN to go there and look for new ones.
It's just like when the naira note, the new one came out, they were like, we should stop using the other one. Later, they changed their mind. So we hope so.
They won't put deadline when they never print money. Say that 300 pieces, never go anywhere. If they talk of deadline, let them print money. If they print money, when money come, then they go share and everybody go get new one.
Nigerians also complained about the state of the old naira notes, with some describing them as old, torn, or falling apart.
The Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele had earlier asked Nigerians to be patient, stating that the new naira notes would soon be available and easily accessible to Nigerians. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Displaced Oyo residents beg for adequate compensation. Stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. We told you that federal government begins evacuation of Nigerians trapped in Sudan. You also heard that protesters blocked Jos Abuja highway over killing of 6 miners in Plateau State. Moving to other stories, an electric spark has been identified as the cause of an inferno in Yankatako Market in Sabongari, Zaria. The fire incident that started around 1 a.m. Wednesday morning continued to burn till early hours of the afternoon. The Chief Security Officer of the market, Hamisu Buhari, said the fire occurred when Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company restored power at about 2 p.m. Then suddenly an electric pole sparked and fell on the roof of one of the shops. Buhari further stated that efforts to get the fire service within the area proved abortive. In an interview, the chairman of Timber Shed in the market, Alin Asharu, also attributed the inferno to an electric spark that emanated from an electricity pole. He stated that more than 150 shops had been burned to ashes, while property worth millions of naira were destroyed. Meanwhile, the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company has denied that it was responsible for the incident, which it said started from one of the shops in the market. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday shored up the number of federal permanent secretaries in the civil service to 92 following the swearing in of an additional 6. Shortly after the new appointees took the oath of office at the council chambers of the presidential villa, Buhari went on to preside over the meeting of the Federal Executive Council. The president specifically administered the oath of office to Mahmoud Kambari Nko Eswabana, Adamu Lamwa, Yakubu Kofarmata, Olufemi Oloruntola, and Richard Filangwa as permanent secretaries in the Federal Civil Service. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, on Wednesday, noted that since the inception of the administration on May 29, 2015, President Buhari has sworn in 92 federal permanent secretaries.
Mr. President just sworn in 6 new permanent secretaries this morning, and it's expected that they will bring their best into the office. It's also expected that they will be diligent, hardworking, and that integrity will be their watchword. I pray that God will give them the grace to do all this. From my point of view, very rigorous. I'm sure you need to ask them, because they had 3 stages of examinations, and this is just so that we can get the best from among the civil servants, because we actually need the best hands to move Nigeria forward.
As the unemployment rate in Nigeria continues to rise, youths in the country are demanding opportunities in digital economy. The youths are calling on governments at all levels to take actions to tackle unemployment to encourage young persons to stay and thrive in the country. Hamid Oyegbade has the report.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the national unemployment rate in Nigeria increased from 23.1% in 2018 to 33.3% in 2020. NBS estimates that this rate has increased to 37.7% in 2022 and will rise further to 40.6% in 2023. Youths in the country are calling on governments to provide them with opportunities to tap into the digital economy.
Things are now done digitally. We youth can gainfully employ and engage in the use of the internet to scale and upscale our career. Some people have been utilized, some of us have been utilizing it to develop our careers.
Okay, I want the government to put more effort by creating enough job opportunity for Nigerian youth, because we have a lot of youth out there that are jobless. And they are idle, and you know, they said the devil used the idle person.
How the government can help is by providing platforms for youth to attain these digital skills, to learn these skills, and not just learn, also provide them an opportunity to practice what they have learned.
Meanwhile, the United Nations Children Fund, in collaboration with National Orientation Agency, is supporting youths with training on digital platforms to earn legitimate income.
We see a lot of resilience from young people. They are very creative, they are very innovative. But I think one of the things that we need to really ensure that these young people are ready is empower them, provide them with the tools, give them the necessary support, both financial and capacity development, to ensure that whatever they are doing, they are productive.
They should be focused and know that the opportunity is here. And there's so many technical opportunities too, especially on social media. Social media is not necessarily for negative things like Yahoo and stuff like that.
UNICEF called on media to raise awareness on opportunities available for youth on digital platforms and amplify their voices to attract government attention so that policymakers will take necessary actions in addressing unemployment in the country. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News.
In education, the National Examinations Council has rescheduled the 2023 National Common Entrance Examination to Saturday, 3rd June. In a statement on Wednesday, NECO spokesman Aziz Sani announced the rescheduling of the exam, blaming the decision on the low registration rates. The examination, which admits candidates into the Federal Unity Colleges across the Federation, ought to have commenced on Saturday, April 29, as earlier scheduled. According to Sani, states with low registration will be given the opportunity to register their candidates for the examination. He urged all candidates, parents, guardians, schools and relevant stakeholders to take note of the new date for the examination, while stating that the registration of more candidates will continue till the new date for the examination. Stakeholders have again warned against human trafficking and illegal migration as a shortcut to a better life. At an event in Ishoto Command in Ikpaja area of Lagos, they warned that the dangers associated with such endeavors could be life-threatening and legally punitive. The report.
Many migrants, especially from Africa, leave their homes for European countries in search of greener pastures without adequate travel documents nor profitably employable skills. This seeming lacuna has led many into dehumanizing experiences as they try to make a living in the new environment, while the lives of others are cut short through dangerous travel routes. As part of efforts to dissuade young Nigerians from this dangerous experience, Project IPHON under the Nigerian Women Association have come together to educate and inform Nigerians on the dangers behind human trafficking and irregular migration.
Government can come in many ways. The government has the competence to protect, to safeguard. So they have all resources and means to do that. So they have it and they can do it. And I'm very sure they are doing more. When we talk of NAPTIP, it's also a government parastatal, right? So they are also doing their best. But Nigeria is a very giant country. So we need to do more.
The problem is not yet addressed. And you and I know that the issue of unemployment is high. The issue of inflation, high cost of living is high. You know, the issue of a lot of things that causes hardship. They are very high in this country. And these are the causes, these are the push factors that has to be addressed by the government, by the governors, and by whoever is concerned before this thing can be reduced to the barest minimum.
Parents not to allow their children to travel, but in a safe way. When she was making her own speech, she was telling us that you can go through scholarship, there's student visas, instead of you telling that somebody's out there there's money in Europe. There's money in Europe, but in a very hard, you have to work for it. You have to earn it in a hard way, because even in Nigeria, you can still.
Returnees who more often than are victims of human trafficking, irregular migration, rape and exploitation also have the gory memories of watching people die in the desert or the sea, as some of them revealed.
Via the Libya route actually exposed me to a lot of things that I've never known before. How they harvest people kidney, how they make people go through slavery, through forced labor, through sex labor, through deceit, through deceive and all that. So my experience has been an eye-opener for me to see life in another perspective.
I really wanted to go then. I was really happy. I thought they were helping me. I was really happy because then I was homeless, nowhere to stay. I cannot go and live with my dad who rejected me so many years ago. So and none of my brothers nor my sisters were willing to help me. So I said, okay, this is the only opportunity for me to make it in life. So that is why I followed them.
The only way to migrate successfully to Europe is to do so with the right information, documentation and necessary skills that guarantee a smooth stay in another country.
Residents of Orisumbare, an agrarian community in Akinyele Local Council District of Oyo State, have kicked against the forceful acquisition of over 310 acres of their ancestral land without commensurate payment of adequate compensation. The aggrieved residents call on government to stay true to their previous agreements by properly resettling them and ensuring they don't feel the impact of siting and construction of a dry seaport in the Akinyele local government area. The report.
These are aggrieved residents of Orisumbare, an agrarian settlement in Akinyele Local Council District of Oyo State. Inhabitants of this community that cuts across about 31 villages are against the proposed siting of a dry seaport in their locality without adequate compensation.
We are here, the government came, they collected our farm, they told us that they compensate us, that we should not be worried that we give us normal term something. So they came very soon now. Yeah, on 27th of March, they gave us check. The check they gave us, we went to the bank. The check is bounced. It's fake check. This is evidence. I can show you. Here is the check.
The money they are paying us is not up to the amount they are supposed to give us. Someone with 5 hectares of land was given 35,000 naira. Someone with a 6-bedrooms bungalow was given 2 million naira. We all know how much building materials cost. They also promised us resettlement, but nothing was done.
Residents here say government at all levels had not stayed through to previous agreements, a move which had sent cold shivers down the spine of those residents whose future, they say, remain uncertain.
A land that is 45 acres, and they gave them 37,700 naira. And that acre of land worth like 45 million naira. The money they are giving people is very small. That is why we solicit the help of governor. Maybe Governor Seyi Makinde is not aware of what is happening.
They didn't give us anything till now. There are some buildings that are worth more than 5 million, 10 million naira. They give some that are just see them their own check. They give them 2 million, 1 point something million. The land, they give them 35,000, 25,000.
Another area of concern to these aggrieved residents is the issue of security, which continues to deteriorate on a daily basis. They appeal to the government to address the situation. We're appealing to Oyo State government to come to our aid. Security here has been so bad that criminal elements have turned uncompleted buildings here to their hideouts. Armed robbers have been coming to attack us inside our houses. I'm yet to collect my own money, while those that have collected checks are complaining bitterly. As the clock continues to tick, residents here hope that governments at all levels would see reason to put machinery in place towards ensuring they do not lose their prized heritage.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll be back after the break.
Good morning, Nigeria. Year after year, they have informed, educated, and entertained us. When you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
From generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
This November, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards, an award ceremony set to reward hard work and unflinching excellence in the broadcast media. They have served and are still serving. It's time to say thank you. This award is organized by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON. For more details, log on to www.tnbawards.ng and follow our social media handles at TNB Awards.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Treated a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. The Center for Information Technology and Development has called on the National Communication Commission to come up with regulatory frameworks for community networks, including no fee for licensing, as is done in other African countries such as Kenya for its citizens, by supporting community networks through paying for the license fee and getting them a backhaul to use. Addressing a news conference on community in Kano, CITAD confirmed that many communities in Nigeria are forced out of not only making phone calls, but also enjoying online businesses such as e-commerce, among others.
The need for community networks in Nigeria is timely because of the increasing number of identified settlements or communities that are yet to be connected or are partly connected. This connectivity instability deprived such areas or settlements from not only making phone calls, but cut off from internet facilities such as the e-medicine, the e-commerce, e-banking. We also urge the civil society organizations to sustain evidence-based advocacy for the establishment of community networks across the country. The Universal Service Provision Fund should introduce a more citizen approach to sensitize communities on how to access the fund's support. Many citizens across the country, including even the elites, are not aware that an existing fund is somewhere lying unaccessed. The media and civil society organizations should promote the sensitization on the role of USPF and how communities can access such digital support.
Let's now join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
The World Bank says inflation in food prices remains high globally. The bank stated this in its food security update issued on Wednesday. Between December 2022 and March 2023, available data shows high inflation in almost all low and middle income countries. Inflation levels are about 5% in 70.6% of the low-income countries and in 90.9% of low-middle-income nations. It is above 5% in 87% of upper-middle-income countries, some of which are experiencing double-digit inflation. The report also indicated that about 84.2% of high-income countries were experiencing high food price escalation. The Food and Agriculture Organization FAO earlier said that the index of international food commodity prices declined for the 12th consecutive month in March 2023. This month, the World Bank announced plans to provide $30 billion over 15 months, including $12 billion as part of the efforts to tackle the crisis. The Nigerian Naira on Wednesday weakened to 740 Naira per dollar at the parallel section of the foreign exchange FX market. The figure represents a depreciation of 3 Naira or 0.4% compared to the 737 Naira it traded 2 weeks ago. At the investors and exporters forex window, the local currency appreciated by 0.05% to close at 463 Naira 44 Kaba on Tuesday. The data also show that forex worth $62.69 million was transacted among market dealers. Currently, Nigeria operates two foreign exchange FX markets. One is the official central bank rate, while the other is the parallel street market rate. The Development Bank of Nigeria says it disbursed about 631 billion naira to over 313,000 MSMEs across the country in 2022. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the DBN, Tony Okpanachi, revealed this at the bank's annual general meeting in Abuja on Tuesday. Speaking on its activities in 2022, Okpanachi said the bank significantly improved its lending in 2022 compared to the 482 billion naira given to 208,000 MSMEs in the preceding year. According to Okpanachi, the credit disbursements represented a 31% growth in financial support and 50% growth in the number of MSMEs impacted. He added that out of the total number of MSME beneficiaries of DBN funds over the 5 years, 67% were women and 27% were young people, with over 250,000 jobs already created. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
On the foreign scene, Sudan's army and a paramilitary force battled on the outskirts of the capital on Wednesday, undermining a truce in an 11-day conflict that civilian groups fear could revive the influence of ousted autocrat Omar al-Bashir and his loyalists. Fueling those concerns, the army confirmed the transfer of 79-year-old Bashir from Khartoum's Koba prison to a military hospital, along with at least 5 of his former officials, before hostilities started on April 15. Airstrikes and artillery have killed at least 459 people, wounded more than 4,000, destroyed hospitals and limited food distribution in the vast nation where a third of the 46 million people were already reliant on humanitarian aid. Foreigners fleeing Khartoum have described bodies littering streets, buildings on fire, residential areas turned into battlefields, and youths roaming with large knives. The White House said a second American had died there. Over the weekend, thousands of inmates were freed outright from prison, including a former minister in Bashir's government who, like him, is wanted on war crime charges by the International Criminal Court in The Hague. The number of victims linked to a suspected starvation cult in Kenya climbed to 95 on Wednesday, a government official said, with weeping relatives anxiously awaiting news of loved ones after investigators unearthed mass graves last week. The discovery of dozens of bodies buried in Shakahola Forest near the coastal town of Malindi shocked Kenyans, with cult leader Paul Mackenzie Ntenge accused of driving his followers to death by preaching that starvation was the only path to God. The gruesome saga, which has been dubbed the Shakahola Forest Massacre, has prompted calls for a crackdown on fringe religious outfits in the largely Christian country. At the state-run Malindi Sub-County Hospital, whose morgue is already stretched well beyond capacity with dozens of bodies, families were desperate to know if their loved ones had been found. As at Wednesday, 39 people had been found alive so far in the 325-hectare bush around Shakahola, while 22 people have been arrested. Hassan Musa, a Kenyan Red Cross official, told AFP that 311 people, including 150 minors, had been reported missing to its support staff in Malindi. In sports, the two Kebbi Beach soccer clubs have continued to maintain their lead in the Nigeria Beach Soccer League for 2023. At the conclusion of round 1 of the league at the Filin Sukuwa in Birnin Kebbi, Kebbi BSC was in first place with a maximum of 9 points, followed by Kebbi United with 8 points from wins over Lagos Smart City, Kwara, Kada, and Akwa Ibom Beach soccer team. In the first round of the league, Manko Patigi Beach Soccer Club had 6 points, Kada BSC 3 points, while Smart City of Lagos and Ibom BSC had 0 points each. The first round of the league ended after 3 games in Birnin Kebbi. According to the national coordinator of NBSL, Mahmoud Hadija, 6 clubs are participating in the league this season. Finally, let's join Adeni Ajishafe for more sports update.
Athletics Federation of Nigeria (AFN) has named 42 athletes to compete for honors at the combined 4th African Under-18 and the 15th African Under-20 Championships scheduled for this weekend in Ndola, Zambia. The list, made up of 23 Under-18 girls and boys as well as 19 Under-20 men and women athletes, is led by a former Nigerian and African triple jump champion and AFN Vice President Rosa Collins. Nigeria's Under-20 women's record holder Tima Godbless is spearheading Nigerians' challenge for podium places in the Under-20 category, while National Sports Festival 100-meter and 200-meter silver medalist Faith Okoche tops the list of 23 Under-18 athletes listed for the championship. AFN Technical Director Samuel Onikeku said the federation has selected the best athletes that will do Nigerians proud in Ndola and follow the footsteps of their predecessors who launched their way to stardom at the championships. The AFN technical director is confident the athletes going to Ndola to compete are as good as those who were in Côte d'Ivoire 4 years ago. And in football, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has officially opened the bidding process to host two of its major competitions, CAF Women's Champions League 2023 and the African Nations Championship CHAN 2024. CAF launched the process through a press release on Tuesday, April 25th, saying candidatures files to be presented by the bidding countries must contain the whole stadium, accommodation site, means of transport, training site in addition to entry permit and visas for the entire duration. Countries wishing to host the organization of the 2023 CAF Women's Champions League and the African Nations Championship CHAN 2024 have until 6th of May 2023 to bid. That's Sport News. I'm Adeniyi Ajisafe.
And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.